Giants fans, we got our guy. We got our guy. We got our linchpin in the middle of the offensive line that we needed so badly. John Michael Schmitz is his name, and I'm so happy to do a video on our new center, John Michael Schmitz. I know it's like I'm releasing this on Monday, May 8th. I realize it's like a week and a half after the draft, but I actually wanted to do this differently in terms of reviewing the draft class for the Giants this year. I've been doing it, I definitely did it last year. I think I did it the year before. But this time, instead of doing one video from like anywhere from like 30 to 60 minutes long, I wanted to break it down. So a few days ago, I did Deontay Banks. Check that out, please. I thought that came out great. Love that first round pick. This draft fell for us so perfectly, and I don't care that we had to trade away some of our back end draft picks in order to move up to get some of the guys in the first 3 rounds that the front office really wanted because I wanted to go for that quality. At this point, I was glad we went for the quality over the quantity because I think this year we're in a much better position than we were last year. So I like what Joe Shane and the front office did, how they approached this draft class. Really excited about the guys that we got, especially in the first 3 rounds. Man, it felt so well for us. The draft board, it's the big board. It felt so. The players just fell to us, and it felt so darn good. Check out my Deontay Banks video. I'll have a link to that video at the end of this one. Please check it out. That'd be great. This one's about John Michael Schmitz, but like I said, I'm just breaking this down to like 10 to 15-minute videos just on each player instead of doing them all together in one like 60-minute video. So I did Deontay Banks a few days ago. You're watching John Michael Schmitz right now. And then maybe in about 2 more days, I'll release the Jalen Hyatt video. And then like 2 or 3 days after that, I'll drop my video on the rest of the picks. So I'm just going to do in one video, as well as one undrafted free agent. I think that'll probably be uh, Bryce Ford Wheaton, I believe is his name, the wide receiver out of West Virginia. So that guy's got a lot of promise. So that last video will be just like I said on the back end. The players in the back end of the draft, as well as one undrafted free agent. But anyway, John Michael Schmitz, holy cow, we needed a center. Listen, this front office has shown in a short period of time that they know what they're doing. They're competent, and we needed a center so badly. I was worried that, and I would have understood it too. I would have understood if there was some really seriously talented player in the second round waiting for us, and there were still very good talented players there waiting for us, and we still have many positions of need that need to be filled. We needed depth as well, and I would have been okay if there was some other really good player, wide receiver, linebacker, defensive lineman, you name it. I would have been cool if we went that. I would have been okay. I would have accepted it if we went with, someone else at pick 57, and we still took a center like in the third round or the fourth or the fifth round. But John Michael Schmitz is as plug and play at center as you could possibly get, especially in this draft class. I would have been totally happy with Joe Tittman if John Michael Schmitz had gone first. Joe Tittman was like my Schmitz was my 1A center in this draft, and Tittman was my 1B. And I would have been very happy with Tittman too. Jets actually took him first off the board in the earlier in the second round, and I was totally fine with that. With John Michael Schmitz being there for us at pick 57, and we didn't even have to trade up to get him. That's something I would have been willing to do because we needed a guy in the center to help solidify this line going into this upcoming season. The development of Evan Neal is very important. It is key. If he can be the Evan Neal that we expect and be much better than his rookie season, I'm not too worried about Evan Neal. I wasn't angry at him. It's not easy transitioning from college to the NFL, but I have big hopes, expectations for Evan Neal, and I think he's going to live up to them this year. I really do. And if John Michael Schmitz is as plug and play as we expect, as he's reportedly been, and I believe that he is, this offensive line can take a big leap. I'm not saying it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, like an elite offensive line, not this year, but I think it's going to be significantly better than last year and the seasons before that. It's going to be a real offensive line. And John Michael Schmitz is, like I said, he's as plug and play as you could possibly get. He was there at pick 57 when Lawrence Tynes, the great New York Giant Lawrence Tynes, former kicker for the team, 2 Super Bowl rings on the man's hand. He announced the pick. He did a great job of doing it too, but he could not say the words John Michael Schmitz fast enough for me. The player was there. It was a perfect fit. I'm like, please, Lawrence, Say the three words, the three magic words, John Michael Schmitz. Thank you, Lawrence, for saying that. And there was a funny, someone had tweeted in Lawrence's Twitter timeline, because Lawrence soon after that, put out a video clip on his Twitter feed of him announcing the pick. And I checked it out. I gave it a thumbs up or whatever, heart. And someone else in there had responded saying, thank you, Lawrence. I think I speak for every Giants fan when I say this. And then they had a gif of the character Dwight from The Office, who's one of my favorite characters of all time, just crying in gratitude. It was crying in gratitude, and that really did speak for me. I'll tell you that. I was like, in the second round with John Michael Schmitz being there, that's the name I wanted to hear. Okay, so but I've talked enough just about the name John Michael Schmitz and how it developed in the draft, but that was exciting. It was exciting, and I still love talking about it like a week later, a week and a half later. But let's talk about our guy. What we're getting with John Michael Schmitz. All right, he was PFF's #1 center in this draft with a PFF score of a little over 92. This guy is ready to step on the field day one. He knows what he's doing. Okay, he's very smart. Like this front office likes to say, they're like smart, tough, dependable. That is John Michael Schmitz. Does not have a history of injury in college. You never know what's going to happen in NFL, but in college, he did not have a history of injury. He started a whole bunch of games over the past few years. He only let up, I believe, one sack over the past 2 seasons. I don't recall if it was one sack over the past 2 seasons or one sack in his entire NFL career. And he did spend 6 years at college, but a lot of that had to do with COVID. Some players came out early, some players stayed in later, and he's one of those players that stayed in later. But I love his development. Like this guy is really, I think he's pro ready. But he only let up one sack. He was either over the past 2 seasons or his entire NFL career. Either way, he was very, very impressive. He is known more as an accomplished run blocker, but he's not a bad pass blocker either. This guy, early on in his career, he'll probably have a hard time against some of the premier interior defensive linemen that he's going up against, especially on the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't be surprised if he struggles against those guys early on in his career. But again, he is tough, smart, dependable. I think he's going to be I love his floor and I love his ceiling too. I love his potential. But he is, like I said, he's seen as an even better run blocker, but he's a very competent pass blocker as well. And so I'm really excited about this guy. Um, the thing with John Michael Schmitz and Tittman is that Tittman, I think, has a higher ceiling. But what I love about John Michael Schmitz is that his floor, I think John Michael Schmitz's ceiling is maybe like one or two Pro Bowls throughout a 10 to 12 year career. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. I don't really care about that. What I care about is this guy's floor, and this guy's floor is for the next 10 to 12 years, the length of his tenure, the length of his NFL experience. You're going to be able to roll this guy out for the next 10 to 12 years at the center position and not worry about anything. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Evan Neal too. Is that even if Evan Neal doesn't turn out to be a Pro Bowler, I think you're going to be able to roll him out at right tackle, John Michael Schmitz at center, and you're not going to have to worry about anything. Maybe they won't be going to Pro Bowls. Yeah, maybe they wind up going to a Pro Bowl or two. But I think the floor for both of these guys, it's not boom or bust at all. The floor is NFL competence with both Evan Neal and John Michael Schmitz. I'm not expecting both of these guys to necessarily play at the same level as Andrew Thomas, who is an All-Pro. I think the potential's there for both of these guys, especially Evan Neal, but I don't necessarily expect that. But I believe in both of these players' floors, and that is again for the next 10 to 12 years. As long as they have an NFL career, you're not going to have to worry about anything at those positions. Okay, so and I think this offensive line is going to level up big time to at least being consistently decent on a week in and week out basis. And it's been so long since we've been able to say that as Giants fans. Okay, I'm going to move on to this section over here. I want to read to you opinions on John Michael Schmitz from around the league in terms of NFL and college evaluators. And this is information that I got from Giants.com. I was going to do my own research and gather this information, but Giants.com was kind enough to do this. I guess they knew that I was going to do this episode, and they gathered it for me. But Matt Sitak, that's Citak of Giants.com, accumulated this, put it out on May 2nd. I will have a link to this in the show description. So a link to this write-up over here by Matt Sitak of Giants.com, and he accumulated these quotes and evaluations from NFL and NCAA evaluators from all over the place. So this first one here is from PFF. And they say if the Giants had made this pick in the first round, nobody would have really batted an eye, and that is true. Even with Banks being there, if the Giants had taken Schmitz, I would have wanted Banks. But if they had taken Schmitz, I would have understood. Um, PFF goes on to say he led all centers with a 92.3 PFF grade in 2022 and graded well on both zone and gap plays. So again, JMS is a very, very versatile center. You can play him in any scheme, really. He's a big guy, but he can really move, and was a 4-year starter at Minnesota. Simply put, he's one of the best run blockers at the position to enter the draft in recent years. This is from Bucky Brooks of NFL.com. I love Bucky Brooks. He's one of those evaluators who is one of my go-to guys. And Bucky Brooks says Schmitz gives them another rugged frontline blocker who specializes in paving a clear path for runners at the line of scrimmage. JMS has a chance to make his impact as a tone setter at the point of attack thanks to his combination of athleticism and nastiness. Mel Kiper Jr. of ESPN says the Giants landed my top-ranked center in Schmitz late in round 2. That's a steal. He fills an immediate need. He was surprised that he lasted that long. Me too. Me too, Mel Kiper. Okay, Todd McShay of ESPN. Let me just wet my whistle here. John McKay has to say, excuse me, Todd McShay has to say, Schmitz will be a 10-year starter for New York. He was his number 2 center and a top 50 prospect. Schmitz has the mirror and slide quickness to take away interior bull rushes and the power to open lanes in the run game. And we have not had a group of interior offensive linemen for a long time. And this is just me saying this as a Giants fan observation, who've been able to handle bull rushes and stunts. Stunts have destroyed the interior of this offensive line for a long time. With JMS being there, that's not going to be happening. Uh, Todd McShay goes on to say Schmitz takes great angles as his own blocker at the second level. Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports. You can't go wrong beefing up the trenches, and you definitely can't go wrong spending a late second on a technically sound center. Schmitz is solid in all aspects up front, and he already projects as an instant upgrade as a starting center for a surprise playoff contender. And if you don't love the idea of using a premium pick on a center, just know Schmitz has the goods to transition as well, to transition to guard as well. He's playing center, and that's where he better be playing for his entire career, at least for the Giants. Dane Brugler, the Athletic. While he's not a top tier athlete, Schmitz is a rock solid player who can be a productive starter when his hands and feet stay on the same page. This is a day one NFL starter. Matt Miller of ESPN says Schmitz is a perfect fit given his mobility and accuracy blocking in space and on the move. He'll be a plug and play upgrade with Creed Humphrey like early impact potential. Let me read that again. He'll be a plug and play upgrade with Creed Humphrey like early impact potential. That is music to my ears, Giants fans. Okay, and last but not least, Chris Trapasso of CBS Sports says instant starter at center, large but nimble, reach blocks galore on his film, recovery ability is there too, not dominant, but simply blocks everything. Fills a major need. And exactly, I don't see him ever wind up being a dominant center. But again, that would be nice. That would be ideal. But his floor is competent. And when you're going to have either competent or Pro Bowl players at left tackle, right tackle, and center, we're going to figure out the two guard positions. And I think some of the solutions are already in house with some of our younger guys. I believe that. I'm not selling. I'm not going to go all out on that limb, but I believe that we have a lot of potential there, interior with our young guards, to really figure out those guard positions this year. And hopefully we keep adding to the line over the next few years and as time goes on. But I feel really good about this offensive line coming in. Anyway, that is my report, my feedback on John Michael Schmitz. As you can tell, I love that pick and the value in the second round. Holy cow. Again, just a friendly reminder before I go, if you can, hit that like and subscribe button. Give us that 5-star Apple review where you can find our shows, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, and Spotify. Toilets2titles.com, our glorious website, has all of our articles and all of our videos. They all wind up over there at toilets2titles.com. We have partnered with at the CFB Nation. They handle the vast majority of our college content. Once those players graduate, Toilets to Titles takes them over. Patreon.com/Toilets to Titles. If you can go there, you'll learn how you can further support the show. Thank you to our current Patreon supporters. We appreciate you appreciating us. Gilded, we run our own Toilets to Titles chat in Gilded. You want to talk football, NFL, fantasy football, definitely, college football, anything to do with football. You want to talk, come into our chat. We're over like 120 members in our Gilded chat now. We have a lot of fun in there. Reach out to us on Twitter if you'd like to join us in our Gilded chat to talk anything football. You'll always get a comment. You'll always get plenty of people talking football. And that's it. And please, just one more reminder, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and give us that 5-star Apple review if you have a few seconds to spare. Anyway, I'm out of here. You'll see me next with my Jalen Hyatt review, which I'm very excited about as well. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon.